Hello and welcome back to JBCTR, where today you join me for part 3 of my first ever car wrap. So plan for today is wrap the wings on both sides so we can then get the front bumper on the car and get it looking a bit more like a car again. And then I'll probably flip to the back of the car and we'll start on the boot lid, spoiler and rear bumper.
It's alright. Baby, here I am. I was lost. Now I'm found again. It's alright. Baby, here I am. It's alright. 'Cause baby, I'm home again.
Right then, so as you can see, pulled the car out the garage a little bit just to give me a bit more space because yesterday that proved to be pretty useful. And I've also parked it at an angle to give me more access to this quarter panel. Now if we look at the quarter panel, we've got a line down here, which is really nice to see because the bumper didn't really have any lines. And that means that I can work upwards from that line and then also downwards from that line. So it gives me two very clear sections. So without further ado, I'll go grab some wrap and let's get it on.
I wish I had the guts to start a conversation with someone. Just be who I am, not care so much about first impressions. So, 'cause I got a feeling that it could be great. Skip all the acts, not playing games. Maybe revealing the ring me and tell you my name. Yeah, I got a feeling that it could be great. Skip all the acts, not playing games. No one can stand in the ring me, I won't be ashamed. 'Cause I just wanna call my friends and see what they're doing tonight. It doesn't have to be so special. I try to be myself. You do the same and we'll be alright. 'Cause this pressure's really bringing me down.
Right, so that is one more panel done. That wasn't too difficult actually, a little bit more intricate than I thought it was going to be, with the only real headache being the repeater bulb housing thing. I'll be honest, I didn't even look to see how I could take it off because I was like, I can work around that. So I just used the same technique as we did with the roof aerial, which was sort of like wrap over it and then cut a small hole, push the wrap closer and then cut another hole and so on and so forth until the wrap is like sucked around the indicator housing, and it worked okay. The only slight issue is that the indicator housing on the Kia is really close to the car, which means trying to tuck behind it was a little bit difficult, and there's a couple of spots where you can just about see white, but I mean you'd have to be looking. So yeah, for a first panel like that, again pretty pleased. And no wasted wrap this time, so all good.
'Cause I just wanna call my friends and see what they're doing tonight. It doesn't have to be so special. I try to be myself. You do the same and we'll be alright. 'Cause this pressure's really bringing me down.
Right, so I was doing okay with this side. I wasn't overly keen with my cutting around the old thingamajig, indicator repeater thing, and I made a big mistake with my knife. I slipped up top here and it made a bit of an error. So I thought if I'd had to do this again, I'd look to see how difficult it actually was to remove this thing. And as it turns out, a little bit of a trim removal tool, pry it open, and out it comes. And now I feel really silly because it was really difficult to wrap around it. So let's take this thing off and then we'll wrap it again. at that. Straight glass with no problems at all. Now we've just got the bottom half to do, and come on, we should have this done relatively quickly.
Isn't it so vital? Stuck between the bars. The strong have scars, but you can never go back. Struggle to survive, and you're still alive. Carry on. Even if you've been misled, and all of your dreams are dead, take a quick look and settle your regrets.
Finally, we can get a sort of sneak peek as to what it's going to look like as we now have a completed front end. And I'm quite pleased with my handiwork. I mean, sure, it's not perfect, but yeah, I think I'm pretty pleased. So for me, I'm going to call it a day today, and then we'll pick this up again tomorrow or the day after, whenever. But for you guys, that'll be in about 30 seconds. Right then, another day on the Kia, and today I think we're going to focus on the sides. So first job is to prepare them, remove all the stuff we need to get rid of. So that will be the handles for front and rear, and the mirror.
Having a good time. Having a good time.
Okay, so we have removed everything I think we need to remove. These little trimmy things were pretty difficult to come off, so I decided to leave them on, and as they're bendy, we'll just wrap underneath them when we do the doors. But the first panel I'm going to do is not really a panel, it's just a weird shape. So we're going to go right from up down here, right the way along the roof, round here, round the back. We'll stop at the rear bumper here, and then this panel continues all the way around under here, and that means we need to prepare by putting knifeless tape around the inside of all the doors and masking tape on the doors so that we can open the doors when there's vinyl on them. Yeah, so a lot of prep for this one, but it should be good fun.
Call me up in a minute. Call me up, set me straight. Pickpocket my eye socket. There's no time to be prude. I let you kidnap my tongue in. I let you measure my waist and intense fire will take us higher than higher. Ooh, cuddle me blue. Take me to the edges of you. Ooh, ooh. Cut every little inch of my skin. Baby, I will let you in. Ooh, ooh.
And there we have it, 2 pairs of hands, and it's on the car. I mean, sure, it looks a bit messy, but we can push and pull and twist and stuff, and we should be able to get this laid now.
Every little inch of my skin. Baby, I will let you in. Cuddle me blue. Take me to the edges of you. Cut isn't half insane. It's you.
And there we have it, one side done. Apologies if I didn't talk my way through it. It was quite tricky, so I just sort of concentrated, although I did film most of it. Generally speaking, I think it went okay. I need to get better at laying my knifeless tape. The front door is fine. The back door is a little bit, it's a little bit wavy. I need to get better at that. But I'm very pleased with my fuel cap, or inside the fuel cap, and also round near the boot. I think they both look really good. And thankfully, we don't use the back doors too often. So, yeah, difficult one, but I've learned a few things, and hopefully I'll be able to do the other side of it better. Right then, so that is this weird panel that goes all the way around, and the sills and all that stuff done. And as you can probably tell, it's a different day. So I've had my Corona haircut, which I'm actually quite pleased with for a homegrown haircut. It's not too bad. So anyway, not too embarrassing. So plan for today is actually to focus on the back of the car. Appreciate I've not finished these panels yet. There's a very practical reason for me doing it in this order, and that's because my wrap is starting to look a little bit, well, it doesn't look like I've got that much left. So I want to use the larger sheets of wrap to do the bumpers and the bigger sections, and then we can use our smaller offcuts to hopefully finish off all the smaller panels. So yeah, first plan is to move the car out of the garage, give us a bit more space, centralise it a bit, and then we can get wrapping.
If our friends knew undercover love, and they would try to solve it, yeah. Me and you, what we do, it stays between me and you.
Well, that's the bumper all cleaned up, as you would expect, as we've done with the rest of the car. And in terms of wrapping the rear bumper, there are two key areas that I'm slightly concerned about. So the first is the top. Not entirely sure with this little weird corner here if we can have enough stretch to stretch it all the way in. And normally I think you would do a recess at the top here to combat that. But actually, when you shut the boot lid comes right to the very edge. So we've got this nice little body line here. So I think I'll just knifeless tape and then ping across this and up here, and then that should give us a very clean line, and obviously make it blue when the lid's shut as well. So that's how we'll do the top bit, and the most obvious difficult part is going to be the number plate recess here. So the plan is to do it in two bits. We'll put some knifeless tape around the inside of the number plate area, all the way around to here, and then we'll do a second bit of knifeless tape around the edge of the recess, which is around here. We'll then apply a thin strip of vinyl, which will go all the way around the inside, like that, knifeless tape, and then that'll give us a nice clean line and do literally just this inside bit. Then we'll wrap the entire panel over that, which of course would stretch it up over here, so there's the air behind it. Then I'll cut that around this line here, push it in, and then that should cover everything that's white, hopefully, because we've got the recess there, and then the main thing would be here. So that's the plan for the recess. Parking sensors is another one that people ask about. I don't see any issues with simply wrapping over them. Sure, you'll see them, but I mean, you can see them on the stock car as well. So yeah, that should be fine. And lastly, we've got these little lights. I'm not going to remove the bumper to get the lights out, so I'm just going to tuck. We've got a tiny little gap around the edge. So yeah, I'm just going to push and tuck, and then we should be good on the lights too. So yeah, that's the plan. Let's montage.
I'm living in your messages. I'm closer to you there, I guess. Living in your messages. Every day now I confess.
Well, this is very much a case of Johnny knows better when Johnny doesn't know better. So all the tutorials state that you should create a template for this little recess and then go and create or use that template to cut out an exact shape to then go stick in there. But I looked at them and I was like, well, nah, we'll just sort of like use a proper piece and then knifeless it out and then it'll be fine. Turns out it's really bloody hard to do that because in the corners you get way too much material and then that causes wrinkles in where you need it to be, and then it's just not very nice, which is why you've got this mess. So I'm going to use this mess here and cut it up into loads of different sections and then lay them across like this. So there'll be loads of joints all the way around. Then we'll pull the knifeless tape, but that will then give us a template we can then take inside and cut an exact shape of new vinyl that we can then stick, and it should fit perfectly. So I'll try that this time as per the tutorials.
Light up any room without going in. Funny how just a few letters in a row can turn into a smile, and now you can't let go. We see the distance grow. I just need to know, do you even feel the same? I'm living in your messages. Closer to you there, I guess. Living in your messages. Every day now I confess.
And that's my first recess done. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Generally, it fitted quite well. The only thing I would say is, for some reason, my template on that end turned out to be a little bit too long. Not really too sure what caused that. Maybe just the stretch of this vinyl. But anyway, I made it work. It seems to be okay. So now we just need to wrap over it, and then hopefully this will meet up with the wrap that goes on top. Hopefully.
Like a worm in the storm, a hungry hunger inside of me. I can't be reborn. I'm a monster, spreading hate, stealing time. I'm a monster, laying days when it's cloudy. Oh, pilgrim inside of me. Tell me, what's my remedy? I'm a fraud, call me liar. A true psychopath, don't love me. When you're lost, take your trust. Yeah, that's me.
Now, actually, that went much better than I was expecting. So my one takeaway, I guess, from doing this is that you can, if you're going to cut anywhere, cut further away from the bumper. It seems to be, away from the raised section, because that seems to be, you can get away with folding it over a bit more easily than you can on the inside here. But obviously the risk is not having enough on the inside to meet your template underneath. Annoyingly, I have a tiny bit of white showing where my cut on top hasn't quite stretched to my recessed cover thing underneath, which is very, very annoying. But it is actually on the underside, and there's no way in hell that I'm doing this whole bumper again just for that. So if you are doing this, be super careful, and I would suggest that you leave more material on the sort of top side here than on the underside. But yeah, it is quite a fine balance.
Can you picture you and me in the darkness? Kissing, touching. Keep the lights, I'm your assassin. No sleep breaking. Every inch of my skin's missing you, giving. Breathe out, breathe in.
And that is the rear bumper done. And if I'm honest, I am not happy with it. Yeah, just, I mean, it's all right. The top bit is pretty smooth, to be fair. I think that looks quite smart. You may have seen in the montage that I unfortunately slipped with my knife on both of these lights, which is really bloody annoying, especially this one, because that's really obvious. But it's kind of uneconomical for me to take the whole off again to do it again. So yeah, there's a couple of little mistakes I'm not happy with. So yeah, all in all, I think the lesson learned is the easiest way to do a really good job as an amateur is to go the extra mile and take all the bits off. So the front bumper came out looking really nice, but I had to do all that extra effort of removing it, removing all the grills. And I could have done it with this one. I could have removed it, I could have removed the lights, and then this would not have happened because I'd be able to sort of pull all the way around and then cut on the back. But yeah, just I guess another lesson learned. And because I was feeling a bit sad about the bumper, I put the light in because this side's finished, and now this actually looks quite nice, but that made me feel a little bit better. So yeah, anyway, I think we'll leave it there for today. We've done quite a bit actually in this video. Sorry it's been a bit sort of higgledy-piggledy as I'm just doing this in the evenings really, so it's kind of one panel at a time, but I'll collate them into videos so you guys can enjoy them. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.
There goes a sight from my soul.